Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us 26th of March. We'll be able to extend that beyond that with GFS and ECM Ensembles. Maybe try in a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. Gets us into April, and I should get over that for you in a moment. Just say that first. Video details our 6M UK weather forecast. We've also released a weekend forecast and the EC42 day for the UK and Ireland. Check out all the day videos and content, and thank you so much everybody for doing that. Like, share, subscribe on all of vids. Thank you so much. We did put on around 55 subscribers, so that's out to 18.1k. So if you could give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe, that would be incredible and amazing. And we thank you so much everyone for doing that. Right, just going to start off very quickly with stratospheric development. So, just to confirm, the sudden stratospheric warming event continues. This has been a prolonged SSW. Started about a week or so ago. Solar winds still in reverse at a very low level, actually, albeit just starting to tick up very slightly yesterday and the day before. But nevertheless, still well and truly in reverse of zonal winds at 10 HPA, 60 degrees north, continues. The sudden stratospheric warming event goes on. GFS Ensembles look like that. So the SSW, oh, so sorry, buddy. The SSW will continue for the next week or so, with zonal winds remaining in reverse. When we get to the day 10, 14 time frame, it looks as though the zonal winds will possibly go back into positive territory again, telling us that this is not probably the final warming of the stratosphere, and the polar vortex will try to reform by the end of the month. But major sudden stratospheric warming event is ongoing at the moment. We shall keep you updated. Central temperature is now up to 7.3. That is 1.6 degrees above 61 to 99 average. That is provisional to yesterday, to the 15th of March. So up to the middle of the month, we see a milder than average temperature there by about 1.5 degrees above 61 to 1990 average. Though that includes quite a chilly start to the month as well, remember. So been quite an impressive warm spell that we've had through this second week of March. These were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Leeds today. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Leeds. We're starting off around to slightly below average at the moment, but the upper air temperatures are going to be lifting up as we go through the rest of the weekend and into next week. Looking generally milder than average throughout most of next week. We have got a drop in the upper air temperature taking place here into next weekend, and then on into the final week of March. Could become quite cold for a while as we approach the Easter period around here. Although Easter itself might actually start turning milder with the upper air temperatures beginning to pick back up again. Precipitation-wise, we've got more wet weather to come tonight and into tomorrow morning in the eastern regions. But we're drier for a few days, though, before it turns wetter perhaps later on in the week. And then possibly over Easter, we could be looking at quite a bit of rain there. But of course, that is a long way off and is in the unreliable time frame. Temperature anomalies from the 16th, 24th of March are coming out above average. Precipitation anomalies from the 16th, 24th of March drier than average in many areas, but central regions nearer normal. Latest Windflow Map from earthnoschool.net shows that again we've got low pressure in the Atlantic and a weather system is coming in from the west today. So we've got a weather system through here that will be bringing further rain through the afternoon and into the evening and overnight as well. Behind that will drag up some very mild air from the southwest. So tomorrow we might see the temperature lifting up to around 18 degrees across some southeastern regions. Right, let's start going through chart data then. Ensemble Latest UK Met Euro run is looking for midnight on Monday. Low pressure bringing further wet weather in from off the Atlantic through the middle of next week. Then we go dry, particularly in the south into around Wednesday, Thursday time, but not for long. This area of low pressure deeper to the north of Scotland by the end of next week and starts to bring in something colder from the northwest. So by this time next week, Saturday, 23rd of March, we're going into what looks like a rather cold and showery northwesterly flow. Shall probably turning wintering up in the north with that one. Icon again looking unsettled through Tuesday, but a little bit drier, perhaps in the south anyway, through the middle part of next week, still unsettled though up in the north. Then the end of next week and next weekend, again, we turn wind into the northwest, so looking rather cool with those northwesterly winds, perhaps cold in the north, wintry showers there, and, cool and showery, really, as we get into next weekend. The KMA from South Korea looking like this, all much of a muchness for the middle part of next week, with higher pressure building into the south, a little bit drier there, but still quite unsettled up in the north. Then all places turning cold, windy, showering by the end of next week into next weekend, with winds going into the northwest. We see northwesterly gales there. For the next area of low pressure comes in as we go into the beginning of the following week, so that looks very unsettled, taking us up to the Easter period. I mean, not much to say about that. We're close to Easter there. Low pressure well and truly in control. It's not particularly cold, but it's probably quite cool. And the main thing, though, is that it's very unsettled, with more bouts of rain taking us into what looks like it would be a wet Easter. Let's have a GFS midnight run is looking. Again, we bring a trough across the country on Tuesday, about how showery conditions in with it. But a little bit of higher pressure through the middle part of next week, especially down in the south. We go into those northwesterly winds there, particularly in the north through next weekend. High pressure starts building in across the country as we go into the beginning of the following week, so turning drier but quite chilly under that area of high pressure, with a risk of some overnight frost and whatnot. And then heading up toward day 10, we start to see some very cold air sitting just to our north. Look what happens. The high pressure goes to Scandinavia. As we approach Easter, we begin to pull in the wind from an easterly direction. A proper easterly wind sets in as we get towards Maundy Thursday, which is the 28th of March there. And we are pulling in some really quite cold air, certainly for the time of year, from the east, with minus 10 cells iceberg arriving onto the east coast. That would be enough to send showers to snow across many parts of the country, but particularly so in the eastern regions. That east wind maintained through the Good Friday, which is the 29th of March. Again, easy cold enough for those showers to be wintry, probably falling in snow in the eastern regions. Now we go beyond that, and low pressure starts pushing up from the south. So that cuts off the easterly, temperatures therefore start lifting up later on in the East weekend, but would be a very unsettled Easter weekend, with those east winds bringing outbreaks of rain, probably cold enough for snow up in the north as well, and just generally a pretty grim Easter weekend there on the GFS midnight run. But GFS 6 then, in comparison, looks like this. Again, we push that trough through on Tuesday. They get some higher pressure around the middle part of the week, especially so in the south. Later next week turns more unsettled and cooler or colder, with winds swinging into the northwest or potentially even the north, before a ridge of high pressure starts building into the beginning of the following week. But low pressure is deepening in the Atlantic, so day 10, which is the 26th of March, looking very unsettled, with low pressure still in control. Actually, a little bit on the stormy side by the 27th of March. Gale force winds around that area of low pressure. And that low pressure just sits to our west and our southwest as we move up towards Easter. No, nowhere near as cold running up to Easter with the GFS 6A compared to midnight run, but still very unsettled, still low pressure dominated, with bouts of rain developing. And by the very end of a 6M run, heights are rising over Greenland this time, and starting to pull the wind into more of a northeasterly in the northern half of the country. Now, it takes longer to get there, but eventually it looks like GFS 6M is also going in a colder direction. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment and say what you think about this and all of our videos and content. And don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. We thank you so much everybody for doing that. We need to put on around 55 subscribers to get ourselves to 18.1k. So if you could give us a sub, it would be amazing. It would be incredible. And we will thank you so much everybody for doing that. Right, GM, again with low pressure pushing in on Tuesday. That will bring further showery conditions in with it. Then we're under higher pressure through the middle part of next week, drier, and should be relatively mild as well. Late next week turns more unsettled and cooler or colder as winds turn to the northwest, and then eventually potentially anyway by next weekend into the north, so becoming colder with showers probably turning wintry in northern and eastern regions, and a return of overnight frost as we head up towards day 8, 9, 10. That's the day 10 chart with the GM. 26th of March. It looks like we're going to have a go at getting that high pressure Scandinavia there, and maybe pulling in a proper easterly wind. The upper air temperatures look like that, so there's some cold air sitting over Scandinavia. If we could get wind into a proper east-northeasterly, there is cold to tap into as we run up towards the East Superior. So for GM, looking a little bit poised there by day 10. And then the ECMWF again looking rather showery and unsettled as we go through Tuesday. Then we have a dry trend perhaps for the middle part of next week, but not for long. We go into those strong and showery northwesterly winds by the end of next week and next weekend. So showers turning wintry, particularly so in the north and in the west. An actual northerly, a direct northerly there. Through next weekend. That will bring snow showers into northern, northeastern regions, wintry showers elsewhere, looking quite cold. With that, before the high pressure starts to slip southwards, and by day 10, we're actually bringing the wind back in from the southwest. So the ECM turning milder as we run up towards the East Superior there with another scenario. This is my precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from Meteo.com. Plenty of wet weather to come through the rest of today and overnight and through to tomorrow morning as well. Eventually that rain will clear out into the North Sea tomorrow, be replaced by showers, and then further wet weather from the Atlantic through the early part of next week. Getting through to the second half of next week, well, then we go rather showery and chilly. Shower turning wintry up in the north, maybe, with the winds turning into the northwest. Even a few wintry showers coming down into England and Wales there by next weekend. So that's a bit of a moment, isn't it? Eventually we go by the winds back into southwest, and the precipitation turning back to rain by day 10. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensemble today for day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office. Gets us to 26th of March. There's lots of them. 13 members of the ECM Ensembles very unsettled with low pressure, deep low pressure right over top of the country. 12 with higher pressure originating in from the southwest and bring some milder air in from the southwest with it. 8 with high pressure more towards Scandinavia, that possibly bringing in a wind from more of an easterly direction. We've got another 8 with deep low pressure over just the west of the country. We've got 7 with a proper Scandinavian high and a probable easterly wind with that. And then we've got 3 with low pressure, again, right over top of the country or just to our west. So all sorts of options, but I think most of them probably favouring the low pressure dominated scenario. But there's a chance that it might have some higher pressure around day 10. I mean, 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets us to the 31st of March, which I think is Easter Day, Easter Sunday. So 11 members of the ECM Ensembles with high pressure towards Greenland and Scandinavia, blocking feature essentially. Low pressure to our south, southwest. That would bring the wind up the southerly southeast direction. So it would be cold despite blocking, but will be quite unsettled. We've got 10 with low pressure right over top of the country. We've got 9 with high pressure over and just to the east of the country. It could be drier and probably quite mild with winds up from south. We have got 8 with high pressure towards Scandinavia. Low pressure is to our southwest. Again, winds coming in from more of a southerly or southeast direction, quite unsettled with that. 7 with high pressure to the north of Scotland, between Scotland and Iceland, and winds will come in from a chilly easterly direction. And 6 with low pressure through the northwest Europe, high pressure blocking in the Atlantic, going towards Greenland, and that'll be threats up, putting in some colder air from the northeast. So lots and lots of options, but it's all to play for Easter by the look of it. We might finish up with a relatively pleasant, mostly dry and relatively pleasantly mild or warm Easter. We could finish up with a wet and mild Easter, or we could even finish up with quite a cold Easter. All the options are on the table, and it's all to play for. CFS V2, finally, these are 500 millibar height and lines breaking down into weekly periods. The first week period takes us from the 22nd of March. Next week will be unsettled with low pressure to the north, high pressure will be to the south, and winds will be coming in from off the Atlantic like that. Week 2 will be the 23rd to 29th of March. Low pressure again to our northwest, looking unsettled there. Week 3 will be the 30th of March to the 5th of April. Low pressure starting to slip southwards, still unsettled around the Easter period with that one. And then finally, week 4 is going to be the 6th through to the 12th of April. High pressure blocking around Greenland and Iceland. And we could well be bringing a wind from the east or possibly even northeasterly direction with that drier, but potentially a little bit colder there with the week 4 chart. But of course, that is a very long way off and not really worth being overly concerned about at this stage. And we're done. If you've enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. You can show everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment? Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. And don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. We thank everyone for doing that. 55 subscribers gets us to 18.1k. So if you could give us a sub, oops, what am I doing? If you could give us a sub and tell your friends and fans to subscribe, that'd be incredible. Thank you so much. Right, so just what's happening on my channel tomorrow. You have 16 weekly weather forecast. Then I'm going to have the 3rd summer update. I'll be live at 6 p.m. with our 10 to 14 day as a Sunday live stream. We will throw in some long range with that as well. And just to say that the Easter countdown, Easter updates will begin officially on Monday. So I want to try and get one in this weekend, but not going to be able to. Too busy today for squeeze one in. So Easter updates will begin on Monday here on the channel. Although, of course, we're covering Easter the 10 to 14 day as it is anyway. Right, so that's it then. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I've got the next summer update to do. No, I'll be working into the evening. But you have a great Saturday and we'll see you tomorrow. But for this one, that's all for now. And thanks so much.